The Echo Child, written by Heather Kelland and Kieran Woodhall, and illustrated by Erica Finlayson. Come away, O human child, to the waters and the wild, with a fairy hand in hand, for the world's more full of weeping than you can understand. A section of William Yeats's poem, The Stolen Child. The village of Glendon lies beside a great forest. The elders of the village would always tell stories to the children about the dark and ancient magic there. The children knew the stories were just to make them behave, but just in case they always treated the forest with caution. The story goes there was a time when the children of the village would run freely in the forest and play to their heart's content. One day, a little girl went missing and everything changed. At first, many searched for her, and though she never came home, the children said they could see her sometimes running through the trees. The elders knew it must have been the fairies taking her for their own. They told the children not to enter the forest, and that if they did, they must always return before dark. But every few years, a child would ignore the elders, go searching for the girl, and would never return. Gone forever, with only a trace left behind. Sam was always a good child, friendly and full of adventure. He would walk past the great forest every day on his way to school, and would gaze into the sun-filled pathways with awe. He imagined all the adventures he would have in the forest, the trees he would climb, the monsters he would scare away, and maybe even do some rescuing if he had the time. None of the other children were interested in Sam's daydreams and warned him about the fairies. His parents would always say the forest was more full of secrets than he could understand. But Sam wasn't scared. He was a brave explorer, and he wouldn't let a few spooky stories stop his fun. So one day after school, he decided to finally go on his quest. He first had to find a way through the fence around the forest. There was a path that adults used, but if he was seen using it, he'd get told off. He walked by the fence for a while until he found the perfect-sized hole for him to fit through. Sam looked up at the trees. This close, they were even more impressive. They loomed over him, ancient, mossy, and bright. He started walking down a vague path. As long as he didn't go too far, it would be easy to find his way back. It was so exciting being there. All his life, he had wondered what it was like, and it was more amazing than he could ever have imagined. It came alive in his eyes, the birds flying overhead, the squirrels and rabbits racing through the undergrowth. There were brightly coloured flowers and plants everywhere that he'd never seen before. As he was crouched down admiring one such plant, he saw something move out of the corner of his eye. Slowly he got up, thinking it must be a cat or a dog. Gently and quietly, Sam walked towards where he'd seen the animal, hoping he wouldn't scare it away. A twig snapped under his foot, and the animal scuttled away, but as it did, Sam caught sight of a girl's dress vanishing behind a tree. He stopped and called out, "Hello?" A few trees ahead, he saw a pair of eyes quickly peek out at him before darting behind a tree. "Hello?" the person called back. "Are you lost?" Sam called, and a tiny voice called back, "Lost." Sam looked around the unfamiliar clearing he was in. "I think I might be too, but we can find a way out together." The wide eyes glanced around the tree again. "Together?" "Of course, come out. Don't be scared." The eyes suddenly looked worried, and the girl ducked back into hiding.
"Be scared."
"I'm not scared of anything," Sam said as he approached the tree. This time, the girl stayed where she was, and Sam walked around the tree, and he saw the rest of her. She was like no one he'd ever seen before. She was pale with silver hair, and the sunlight seemed to stream through her. Most children would have been frightened, but not Sam. He was an adventurer. With the friendliest smile he had, he said, "I'm Sam, what's your name?"
"Name?"
"It's what people call you. Don't you have one?" The girl shook her head. Sam tilted his head and looked curiously at her. "But everyone has a name."
"Name."
The girl repeated sadly, looking away from Sam. A sudden smile filled Sam's face as a new idea came to him. "I'll give you one. I'm going to call you Echo." She frowned uncertainly at this new identity.
"Echo?"
She repeated it back to herself, as if trying to decide whether he was being nice or not. "Yes, don't you like it?" Sam said anxiously.
Like it.
Echo smiled back at him. Sam was glad she liked it. Do you want to be my friend?
Be my friend.
She beamed, and as she smiled, the sun seemed to make her just a little brighter. Sam asked, Do you know where the good climbing trees are? Echo nodded excitedly and started running towards the best trees she knew. The branches were a tangled mess, and the moss a perfect cushioned seat once you needed a rest. After climbing, Sam showed Echo how to play Tig. You chase after one person, and when you touch them, you say, Tig, got you.
Tig, got you.
Echo tapped his shoulder and then quickly ran away, hiding in a log. She loved playing new games. Running around and playing all day was very tiring. Sam collapsed down in a pile of leaves, his tummy rumbling. I should have brought a sandwich with me. A real explorer is always prepared. Echo looked across at him and gestured that he should follow her. She led him to a stream where he could drink crystal water while she skipped across the stepping stones, her arms wide out for balance. Once he drank his fill of water, she beckoned for him to follow her across the stream to a path lined with thick blackberry bushes. Sam was delighted. You know all the best places. Have you been here a long time? Echo looked towards the floor.
A long time.
As Sam sat down, he ate the berries and looked up and saw the golden sunlight had changed to a burning amber. Oh, look! Isn't that a beautiful sunset?
Sunset!
Echo exclaimed, leaping to her feet. Echo started to run away, her pale hair streaming behind her. But Sam couldn't understand. Where are you going? He called after her. Come back, please don't run away. Echo turned her head back to him, and with fear in her eyes, she said,
Run away!
She was still running further into the forest, but Sam couldn't bear to let her go, and he followed her. Echo, please don't leave me. Without even turning her head, she echoed,
Leave me!
Sam looked around. It was dark now and getting harder to see where he was. He knew it was time to leave. He stopped running, and after a few more paces, so did Echo. It's dark now. I think I should go home. Echo looked relieved.
Go home.
Sam's heart sank as he turned away. Okay, if you don't want to be my friend anymore, I'll stop.
Stop.
Sam turned back and saw how sad Echo was now he was leaving. He started walking towards her again, but then saw something out of the corner of his eye. Lights started appearing in the distance. It was the fairies. Sam couldn't believe it. Look, Echo, it's the fairies. Come on, let's catch one. Echo's face turned to a picture of terror. But Sam didn't see. He was already captivated by the lights. He started to run towards them, but Echo held onto his sleeve, stopping him. When Sam looked back, he finally saw the look on her face. Don't worry, there's no reason to be scared. Echo stared at him, wide-eyed with fear.
Be scared.
But she knew it was too late. He was already mesmerised by the lights of the fairies, and Echo had no choice but to follow him as he walked towards them. Sam arrived at the clearing, and the tiny lights seemed to burn brighter. The flickering fairy lights revealed the pale faces of the other children peering out at him from behind the trees. They were all like Echo. Suddenly, Sam was very frightened. He felt something bad was going to happen. Echo pressed closer to him, her hands brushing against his. He turned to her. I didn't listen to you, I'm sorry. Are we still friends? Echo took her hand in his, and with eyes brimming with tears, she said,
Still friends.
Some invisible force started pulling the children together in a perfect circle around Sam. The force tore Echo's hand from his. Echo! He shouted, trying to find her in the mass of pale children.
Echo!
She shouted back. The lights burned brighter to a piercing white as they amassed around him, and Sam saw the malevolent faces of the flames. He was trapped and shouted, Let us go! And all the children echoed at once, Let us go! But the fairies wouldn't listen. They began to chant and move around him, holding hands. Come away, O human child, to the waters of the wild, with a fairy hand in hand, for the world's more full of weeping than you can understand. And when morning broke, Yet another child of Glendon was gone with only a trace left behind. For he comes, the human child, to the waters and the wild, with a fairy hand in hand, for the world's more full of weeping than he can understand.